Senate President Akpabio has called on Nigerians to limit the number of cars they own, following a significant rise in petroleum prices. His appeal comes in the wake of full deregulation in the downstream petroleum sector, which has seen independent petroleum marketers setting prices between 1,200 and 1,400 naira in various states of the Federation. Akpabio's statement raises eyebrows, given that many in Nigeria's elite, including lawmakers, often own multiple vehicles. During a press briefing after the inauguration of a remodeled press center at the National Assembly, he emphasized that market forces would now dictate fuel prices. While assuring citizens that the Senate would evaluate the recent price increases and intervene if necessary, Akpabio encouraged Nigerians to adopt austerity measures until strategies to boost fuel supply take effect. Joining us right now is Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale for a chat on the latest call of the Senate President Akpabio on Nigerians to reduce the number of cars they own due to the new petrol price regime and how this could mitigate the attendant hardship caused by the hike in petrol price. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure being here as usual.
Absolutely.
Right.
One of the things that you've always preached in numerous interviews is the need for intervention by the government. And now we're listening to what the Senate President is saying, that the Senate will intervene if necessary. Is this not the time for the Senate to intervene?
The government should have intervened yesterday.
Yep.
So what he's saying is highly insensitive. And you see the casual way he's saying it, he's not aware of the problems of Nigeria. So even though he's president of the Senate, I say that clearly. He's not aware. You see, although they said every cloud has a silver lining, he has said this. Austerity, again, should begin at home. We all know the fleet of cars in the National Assembly, in the presidency. Okay. Let them cut down on the usage of those. It's all right. It's simple common sense. If you have 4 cars now, or 2 cars, and you know the cost, you can only fuel one. And before that, Nigerians have been, managing themselves. Even some who have cars, leave cars at home and join public transport. That's just for economic survival. And what he has said, it's not as if we have not tried this before. When I was working, there was a time we had odd even numbers. You can't take a number that has odd number out on some days. Monday, Wednesday, odd numbers, and Friday, odd numbers, Tuesday, Thursday. We lived through that. But that was then to fight the go-slow traffic congestion. You can borrow a leaf from that. There's nothing wrong in that. It's just advocating some prudence. But these are people who don't lead by example.
Yep.
Not leading by example. And you see, the way he's talking about intervention is unserious, very, very unserious. And the government knows that the petrol prices are making life difficult for Nigerians, making life difficult for them to move around, to earn a living, making life difficult for hospitals to function and factories to function. And sooner than later, they will lay off people that have unemployment. So it's high time the government intervene. I stand by that. And I ignore what he's saying. Although it makes good economic sense for you to cut your coat according to your side, but charity should begin at home. Let them tell us how they are deploying the various vehicles, the fleet of cars, in public institutions, in political institutions, like their own, or even the presidency. Then people can listen to such talk. As it is indifferent to what people are going through. And it is unbelievable that the president of the Senate can say something like that.
Well, this isn't, we're not completely not used to the insensitivities of the Senate president. He's known for saying some things that are quite off color and insensitive to the plight of Nigerians. You do remember the prayers and the emails of his fellow Senate members and all the other gaffes that he's had since he's resumed office. But doesn't this just give rise, the way he's talking, doesn't it just give rise to the fact that people have always been saying that the presidency and those who are in government and in power are so far removed from the everyday realities of Nigerian life because of the amount of money that they're making? They're able to pad themselves, cushion themselves. They live in this cocoon where all their friends are rich, all their, family members are well off enough that they don't really feel these grassroots issues. Doesn't that give rise to that argument?
Well, I won't hold brief for them. I won't brief for them. But it is apparent, which is what is indifference, callous indifference, if I must qualify it. And it's not a good mark of leadership. It's not a good mark of. So the sooner they watch the outclasses, okay, this day, maybe yesterday or so, said they are ready, this day, the editorial of this day said that they are ready to support this government, that it has deregulated and things like that, and that they should see it through its reforms and policies. You get me? So that without pain, there is no gain. It is this day that wrote that editorial. So in the light of that, can you compare that with the utterances of this Senate president? It does not make for understanding empathy of the populace. And the populace who put the electorate in power, the electorate who put them in power. You get me? It is not a hereditary title they are holding. They are holding elective offices. The more, although somewhere along the line said he knows that Nigerians put them in the power and they don't have to make life difficult for them. But you see, that's empty rhetoric, given the indifference he has shown. Maybe people should call him to order, that's all.
Empty rhetoric.
Yes.
I certainly appreciate that. Mr. Sobowale, you gave us an example earlier of how I think you said odd and even day based on how that you experienced, yes, how you were able to navigate.
Okay.
But I'd like you to also do what you normally do in terms of giving global or international examples of countries that have successfully transitioned from fuel subsidies.
Do you have the time?
Yes, 1 minute if you can.
Okay. Now, you see, when I was in the bank, okay, we had 2 cars, but you cannot use them on the same day because of congestion on this Eco Bridge, all over. And again, we had, you see, car parks. Car parks at Festac, this theater, National Theater. There were car parks all over Lagos, whereby you could park your car and take a bus. Park your car and take a bus. You need something like that now. And again, when I was in the bank, when the banks were not making as much profit and revenue, we went to cut down basic costs like telephone bills. You see, that affected me when this mobile phone came. I don't speak long on phone because I don't want to incur costs. That was the habit I developed from the bank. And we call them cost-cutting strategies. Those things worked out. You see, what he has proposed is a nice thing. It will help us reduce pollution. You get me? To let us reduce pollution. And it will increase the purchasing power of people because they will save some money and buy other things. So, in that regard, it is a noble thing, but it should not come from that end. You get me?
Yeah.
You must lead by example.
And that was a nice little walk down the lane of nostalgia from the old, odd and even numbers to the GSM phones. Mr. Sobowale, always great to have you here and analyze these stories. Thank you so much for coming in.